What's up, everyone? It's your boy NSRacing95 AKA Nathan Stapleton, and welcome everyone to Daytona International Speedway for the main event of NIRA Speed Weeks. It's time for the 2020 Daytona 500 for the Red Bull Cup Series to officially open off the season with a bang. 28 races this season, 2 more than it has been, but it's going to be fun either way. It's been a great speed week so far, and it's going to be an amazing 500, 10 more laps than it has been for the past 2 seasons. It's so big that I'm not alone for the 500 for the first time ever. I'm joined by NAPFan up here in the booth.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this race. If you guys seen Chick Fil A Cup Series Daytona 500, I think we're going to see something very similar here today for this Red Bull Cup Series Daytona 500. It's a big race, too. These guys all want to win it, and they're all going to want to get up to the front and have a shot at winning this race here today. That front row might have a good advantage here today. I think we're going to see minimal passing, or at least compared to other Daytona races. It's not going to be a cycle race. That's going to make the racing even more intense because they know they have to have a lot more help to make a pass here at Daytona here today than they have in years past.
Yeah, and the big question is that it's been relatively calm for speed weeks this year. Of course, we started off the clash with 2 flips and 1 wet, but since then we haven't really had too many clashes. So it's going to be interesting to see how it'll play out with 42 cars for 50 laps. So obviously, as you can tell, on Wednesday, Kuklon and Kennedy won the front row for the 500, and then the dual race winners, Bradley Ream and Zach Winkle, 2 of the 11 rookies in the field, start second, but well, 3rd and 4th. We have 4 part-time drivers, and they are Nick Kennedy, Tristan Allen, Eric Monaco, and Sayer Diaz. So, for those 4 part-time drivers and for everyone else, what do they have to do to survive 50 laps, the longest 500 yet?
I think the key is to try to get to the front. We see a lot of races where drivers, they stay in the back of the pack, but the wreck happens and they don't have anywhere to go when the wreck happens in front of them. If you are leading this race, and I think if you get to the front, you can stay up front for a while, you have less of a likelihood of getting involved in an accident. But then on the other hand, a lot of wrecks start inside the top 10 here at Daytona, so you might not want to be in that lead position, but there really is no safe place. You just got to be smart, preferably on the inside when a wreck happens, but mainly these guys are just going to go for the race win because it's not about the championship here today, it's about this race, the biggest race of the season. They all want to be in victory lane here for the Daytona 500.
Yeah, the 500, the biggest race on the season. In Season 1, it was won by Toyota of Patrick Smith. Season 2, it was won by a Chevy of Josh South. Who will win here today? Will a Ford win for the first time in the 500? We just have to wait and see. The hype is over. It's time to get these 42 cars brought to life for the 2020 NIRA Red Bull Cup Series Daytona 500.
Drivers, start your engines.
And all 42 drivers will get brought to life here at Daytona to do battle under the sun at Daytona. Here is the top 10 for the Daytona 500. On the pole is Sebastian Kuglon, and alongside him is Nick Kennedy. Pole 2 is Bradley Ream and Zach Winkle. Pole number 3 is Charlie Anders and Alexander Rowe. Pole number 4 is Ben Watson and Diego Yepes. And rounding out the top 10 is last season's champ, Roger Ray, alongside DJ Reed. Now, my question to you is that we do have 11 rookies that have never raced in the Daytona 500 in the Red Bull Cup Series. What do you think is going on in their heads, knowing that this is their first start in the 500?
Well, looking at a few of these names, I mean, you got Elijah Gordon and Alexander Rowe who are rookies in this race, but those guys know what they're doing. Alexander Rowe won the Chick-fil-A Cup Series Daytona 500 earlier this year. Elijah Gordon's a two-time Chick-fil-A Cup Series champion. I know I refer to my series a lot, but hey, they have experience elsewhere. I don't think they have too much trouble. For the other guys who, you haven't seen too much, who are relatively new to Enter 2003, I think they'll still have success. It's an easy place, to get used to. As long as you're in the line with somebody, have a good shot at winning a race here. But it's all about surviving, all about getting a good finish for those guys. But I think for everyone in general, it's all about winning because they all have an equal shot at going to victory lane.
Yeah, very true. Whoever wins this race, they don't have to worry about the next 17 weeks, and that they are locked into the Season 3 playoffs. It's been an amazing speed week so far, and it's time to end it off with a bang. Sebastian Kuklon and Nick Kennedy. The 2020 Red Bull Cup Series Daytona 500 is green at Daytona. And Bradley Weem, he won duel number 1 on Thursday, and he will lead lap number 1 of the 500. Oh no, Benny Watson already going to make it 4 wide.
Yeah, Zach Winkle just went right up on Bradley Weem, but if Winkle can clear the 22, he might have a shot, but they're still going to be 4 wide off the corner here.
Oh, jeez, banging. This happened in the Canyon Super Speedway Series race yesterday. They went 4 wide on lap 2 and all heck broke loose. And they are not going to fan it back down. Or maybe they will.
Yeah, you know what? They will. Ream will have that outside lane, and got to give a lot of kudos to Kukul on there in that outside lane for just backing it down enough so that Ream could get up top. I don't know what Winkle was thinking there. He just pushed right up to allow his teammate to the inside there. Watson's going to lead that lap, but they're 3 wide for the race lead.
William Block in the 88, one of the multiple veterans in the field, can help one of the rookies in the field, Osman Hamid, in the 13.
The 13 of lead, helping out the 88 of William Brock here. Andrew Miller in the 31, Benny Watson on the outside right there. A lot of experience up front around this number 13 machine, but like I said, I think they're going to just blend right in with the veterans today because it's a great equalizer at Daytona International Speedway. Everyone has an equal shot at winning.
We're going to talk about this all season long. The rookies versus the many veterans. But right now, the rookie is out front. Osman Hamid out front in the 13, and he has help from his alliance teammate, Zachary DeLello, in the number 8.
DeLello coming on that inside right there in the 8 machine. He recently won a Super Speedway race in the Turkey Hills Series. So he knows how to get it done on these super speedways over in the NOFSRL, and I would not be surprised if he ended up winning here today. I know he's got a lot of success in the NIRA.
And you are not seeing double. Both JTG Dolly racing cars have found each other. That was close right there from Benny Watson.
Watson pushed down on Hamid there, and that was almost a pseudo 4-wide situation where they just went up into the outside wall. That would not have been good. They are really close to each other, and you use the Super Speedway package on other racetracks, but it's almost like they're using it here. They're bunched up quite a bit, and that's really a little bit of a cause for concern. If we get a wreck, it's going to take out a lot of guys.
Yeah, definitely. And right now, we saw JTG Dolly do this in the second Daytona race last season, and they finished 1-2. And Shane Minsoff, the veteran, Stephen Collin, the rookie, working together, and Team Strategy have worked together, and they're going to go 1-2 here at any moment.
Yeah, the inside lead seems to be working out pretty well to start off, but you got guys like Bradley Ream and Benny Watson who did lead earlier on, still in outside lane around the top 10, so that outside lane's not falling back like we do see at other places, but I think eventually at some point we're going to see that outside lane really kick in, and we could possibly even see it here soon with a 37 possibly on the outside lane. But then again, the more they go 3 wide like this, the harder it is for that outside lane to actually get enough grip so they can stay with the inside lane, but we'll have to see. Eventually both lines are going to be equal here in a moment.
And right now, Bobby Frazier in the 32, last year's Rookie of the Year champion, he got forced to the middle by Madison Tall, and now Tall in the 482 going for the race lead from help from a brand new team, the only custom team in the Red Bull Cup Series this season. And they have 2 full-time callers, Rob Evans in the 65, one of the rookies, and he's going to make a rookie mistake, making it 4 wide.
That's not a rookie mistake at all. That's actually Madison Tall moving up.
Oh, there they go. Oh, my God. Huge clash.
Huge wreck. Huge wreck.
And that is the whole field.
And like I was saying earlier, with how close these guys were, I knew that when they wrecked, it was going to be big. There wasn't enough room for them to really avoid it, and it's going to take out over half the field early on in this one. That
was massive. Stephen Collin and Bobby Frazier destroying Johnny Connor, Carl Friesen, Ace Garcia, Tristan Allen, Elijah Gordon, Sayer Diaz, Evan Hunter, Mark Davison, Bradley Remus destroyed.
A lot of damage on that machine.
Travis Crampton is destroyed.
There's 7 guys, I think, who were ahead of that didn't get anything. Everyone from Watson on up. There's going to be a few guys in the back who are still going to have a shot, but a lot of guys going to be out of the race, and a lot of guys, too, they'll be able to continue, but they're going to be really slow, and early on in this race, we're going to be dealing with lap traffic all day here.
And potentially strategy from the 8 and the 13?
Possibly. You know, with these races, it's really close whether they can make it or not on fuel, so they want to make sure that they don't have to worry about that. Coming in top off, I mean, so many guys are going to be knocked out anyway. They're not really going to have much to lose by coming down now.
Unfortunately, not what we wanted to see early on in the Daytona 500, but we saw it in the clash. Actually, both times, Tall has been in the middle of it, of a 4 wide situation. The speed race off of turn 4 in the 500 and in the clash, and unfortunately, this time, it's going to take out multiple drivers that had a really good shot at possibly winning the 500.
I think we're going to have a lot more guys still be able to continue in this race than what we initially thought. So that's a good thing. Because a lot of guys were caught up in it, but they just simply spun around. But there's still a lot of hard hits there. I mean, we saw cars go flipping through the air in that one. But what a way to start this one now. We had a lot of passing and then a huge wreck. But I think from now on, things are really going to get interesting. We're going to see a lot less passing and hopefully no more wrecks because we don't have many guys out there to wreck anymore. It's going to be interesting to see how the rest of this one plays out.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. And speaking of interesting, this is interesting. Rob Evans making his first Red Bull Cup Series start and just a second on the channel, I believe. He won the race back to the line in the 65 for Evans Gardner Motorsports. So a great one for that team. But with that being said, let's go ahead and see what happened to bring out the huge one in the first caution of the day of Season 3 of the Red Bull Cup Series Daytona 500. Here we go, this is what happened. Rob Evans forced the issue going into turn 3 and 4, made it 4 wide, and then same situation as what happened to the clash. Madison Tall just had nowhere to go but in the middle of 4 wide, got into Bobby Frazier, and then up the track they went, and that just launched the 47 and the 32 up in the air. And then everyone else was spinning and trying to avoid it. Travis Crampton just got clipped, barely, and just all the carnage, and they were wrecking behind them and stacking up, and Honestly, if they didn't stack up, it wouldn't be as bad. But then watch this 47. Barrows gets hit on the underside of the car by Daniel Royals. Flips even more. Up the track he goes. And then into the catch fence. Actually, no, he did not go into the catch fence. Hit the outside wall. And then went back down the racetrack and flipped even more. Just a wild flip for Stephen Cohen in the 47. And also a wild flip for Bobby Frazier in the 32. And oh, I didn't even see Andrew Miller's on top of the 4 as well. Potentially
a lot of guys who caught some air in that one.
Yeah, we have a lot to look at. Potentially 3 flips here in the 500 on lap number 8.
And we got this 4 wide off the corner. Bobby Frazier has nothing he can do, and Toll just moves up. And Stephen Colin also there as well, but Frazier, you see him going upside down. I mean, nothing compared to the 47, but even Frazier took some wild rides there. So many guys getting caught up in this one, but it's the name of the game sometimes here at Daytona. One of the bigger wrecks I've seen at this place before, though. I'll say that much.
And then I mentioned that Amanda Miller was upside down. This happened. He spun around. He would have been fine. And then he stopped on the racetrack, and Zatwinkle just T-boned into the driver's side and landed right on top of the hood of Zatwinkle. A tough break for the 4. He would have been mostly okay. He would have been able to continue if he did not hit the 4. Well, if he did not hit the 31 of Andrew Miller. First on board with the 14 of Benny Watson.
You almost think he'd get caught up in that one, but he managed to avoid it. And even here, drove right to the inside and avoided Crampton. Look at that.
Absolute chaos. Hang on to the hats on board with the 32 of Bobby Frazier.
I don't think we're going to be able to see. Well, he kind of managed to stay where it's supposed to for a majority of that, but still. Everything's upside down for him. Oh boy.
Just a helpless feeling for Bobby Frazier. You might want to get a trash can on board with the 47 of Stephen Collins. Welcome back here at Daytona International Speedway. We will go back green on lap number 12, and we still the 42 cars, and now we only have 27 left on the racetrack. All of the cars that are out are the 22, the 5, the 38, the 88, the 3, the 4, the 47, the 17, 21, 42, 32, 81, 20, 37, and the 31. So many good drivers, so many good cars total here at Daytona.
Should be a good restart, though, and I think the race from here on out is going to get really interesting because we're going to have a much smaller pack, which means that it's going to be a little bit more difficult to make a pass for the race lead. You're not going to have that strong inside lane be as strong as it was before that caution.
And it will be Rob Evans, Rob Evans, Jake Galloway, Christian Volkus, Mitchell Collins, and Benny Watson, the top 5 back green at Daytona, and what a restart from Jake Galloway. One of the rookies, the only rookie for Joe Gibbs Racing, and he got a great restart in that number 11, as I'm still in like crazy.
That wreck really messed us up. Well, our heads are still spinning after going on board with Stephen Cullen there.
Yeah, my head is still twisting upside down and up and around, but
you notice now, look at how small this pack is. You got Mitchell Collins going to the race lead, but it's much smaller than it was earlier on. I think everyone from Crampton on up is going to hang on with it. How about Crampton hanging on with it, though? All that damage, I don't know. He might be able to hang on with it, but Wyatt Quayle right ahead of him there. They look like they're holding on to the draft right now. Just have to see how it all goes down for him. But much smaller pack there for this race lead. That's going to really make things interesting for this race victory.
Yeah, this is going to be very interesting. And with only about 14 cars left, that means everyone else. So, look, there's 13 slow cars. We have a whole entire pack of slow cars. But Brett Sealer, he doesn't look like he has any damage. So maybe it might be the case where he just got held up.
Yeah, that happens a lot when you got so many guys with damage and they're all scrambled all over the place because they crossed the line right when that wreck was happening. So a lot of guys in the back who avoided it crossed the line after the guys who got a bit of damage. So that's probably what happened to Sierra. But hey, maybe he'll get another caution, have another shot at getting back to the lead pack.
Yeah, because looking at the 18, he doesn't have too much damage. Same with the 19, the 96, the 12, the 43. So really, I think that it was mostly the 40 and a couple other cars that were really still that held up a handful of guys. Same as Eli Boy, he doesn't have too much damage as well. So maybe these guys might get lucky and get another caution, but I don't know, we've seen crazier things in the 500, and this race is far from over.
Vargas moving to the inside now. Vargas did really well in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series Daytona 500 earlier. Of course, I alluded to my own series for one thing, but at the same time, me and Nathan used the same version of Daytona, so it's the style of racing that we get here is exactly like it was in that race. So for those guys who were in that Daytona 500 back in February, they definitely know their way around it, and Vargas looking to get a little bit of redemption from losing that one a few months ago.
Yeah, but that would be really sweet redemption for Vargas if he can win. But how about Nick Kennedy? He was the fastest part-time driver in the pro qualifying on Wednesday, and he locked himself in based off of getting second in that session. Oh no, Quentin Moore.
Boy, he was forcing up right there off the corner, but looks like the 34 there of Quentin Moore is going to stay right behind him. I will say this about Watson. I think he got a piece of that accident, and he's not as fast as the rest of his pack. He's able to keep with the pack, of course, but I don't know if he'll have the ability to go to the race lead. The same goes for Crampton and the 36. Those guys kind of hanging in the back, sticking with the draft. They're going to get good runs as long as they don't lose it, but I don't know if they'll be able to get to the race lead with their race cars, because I just don't think they're going to have the aerodynamics that the rest of these guys do, because they did get a piece of that accident.
Yeah, so that's a big disappointment for both drivers, but hey, they could still get a top 10 in this race if we get another crash. And you mentioned the about Quentin Moore letting Nick Kennedy in. Quentin Moore has been one of the best drivers in the Red Bull Cup Series in the past 2 seasons, so not really that surprising that he put a veteran move.
Good to see those guys, not forced full wide, especially after what we saw. I mean, there's no need to do that in this small pack at this point of the race. You're pretty much just logging laps until 10 they go, basically, and then that's when you can go for it. But, all these guys who are still, mainly in this draft, and you actually see Crampton and Watson, they're starting to fall back now because of their damage. I just don't think they have enough to really keep with these guys, so that's a tough break for them. Then again, they could just be a bit of shuffling. They're kind of staying in a single-file draft behind this lead pack. But here's another thing that these guys have to think about here in a few laps. Lap traffic. You might want to check ahead here and see if we got anyone coming up. No one intimate right now, but imminent. Wrong word. Imminent is what I meant to say. That was not the right word I meant to say at all. But still, these guys are going to close in the lap traffic at some point in this race. I don't think a lot of the lap cars are actually super slow, which is good, but they're still going to be slower than our race leaders, and that will definitely play into how the race plays along and who gets the race victory once we get to the end of the race later on.
Yeah, and right now, Crampton's actually back in the lead pack. Same with Yepes and Hamid, but for Watson, he is just barely hanging on.
He's hanging on, barely, but he's obviously not as fast as the rest of those guys, because he did get a piece of it. When we went on board with him, he did actually tap her, and he was right behind it. That was a close one there. Clifton almost made it 4 wide. the Watson was right behind that accident when it occurred. And, you know, it was surprising that's all he got from that because he should have been caught up a lot more. But still, just a little bit of damage on the front nose there, just slowing him down a little bit. But still looking to get a good run here today at Daytona.
And right now, it's just a chess match right now between Collins and Vargas, between a rookie and a veteran battling for this race lead. And there's a lot of Chevys in this lead, Pat. I only see 2 Toyotas and maybe 3 or 4 Fords. The rest are Chevys, so a lot of Chevys survived that crash. But not
a lot of anything survived that crash to begin with, though. But this is what I was talking about early on. How about that? Outside lane really worked out, and Galloway had a huge run on Collins. Now he's going to go to the inside. And I was about to say, you know, we got guys staying out front now. They're not, you know, passing very frequently. But then Galloway with a huge push there on the 2 machine. He's going to lead this lap. That was a great run for the 11.
It was one, and you know what? The 2 Toyotas, they have found each other in this lead, Pat, Vargas and Galloway. And maybe they might try to do some manufacturer strategy, as I'm pretty sure I heard. Oh boy.
Yeah, they're coming up here. I don't know. They don't seem to have that much damage. It could just be a matter of they don't have as much of a draft, but they have closed in on these guys rather quickly in these past few laps. So, really interesting because it's not just one car they got to get around. They got to get around 3 of them. So that can really get interesting. And
boy,
got a battle for the race lead here. How about DJ Reed on that inside?
DJ Reed, the one and only rookie for Chip Ganassi Racing this season, driving the #1, and Noah Clifton, who returns to the same line I drove for last season, almost made it 4 wide.
Oh yeah, they're coming up on them. I think down the backstretch they'll actually run into them here.
And exactly right there they are.
Inside lane. And you know what? They might be pushing these guys in with the pack a little bit at least.
Mitchell
But they're still too slow. That inside lane. And look at who's on the back end of that inside lane. That's Benny Watson there. It was a little ways off the pack. Because he's actually going to lose some ground right here. How about Crampton? Crampton's now inside the top 10 with all that rear end damage.
The great equalizer.
Top 5.
Oh my gosh. The great equalizer is all of the lap traffic here at Daytona. And now, the other 3 lap cars are holding at both lanes.
Those are Watson's teammates holding up the inside lane right there.
So that's...
But they're losing a lot of time. There goes Collins. He's finally going to get around him. But I knew it was going to be tough. But you got to think, too, there's going to be more lap traffic ahead for the race leaders. I mean, it's just going to be a huge chess match at the end of this race. It's going to close back in and stretch it back out and all that stuff until the end of the race.
And here's the thing, we're only 24 laps in. We still have 26 laps left. And we could see what we saw in Season 1 of the Daytona 500, where we thought that we were not going to get any more cautions, but then someone was not able to get around a lap car just right, and around they went, and the 20 car actually flipped on that day. So lap cars could easily cause a caution just like that. So this is far from over.
It'll be interesting to see if we do get another caution in this race, because, you know, it can happen anytime when you don't realize it. You always focus on the lead pack when you have a race like this, but somewhere in the back you have one of those, you know, packs of, you know, tail end lap cars go 4 wide, and then a wreck happens somewhere else on the racetrack. But it always gets interesting when it gets to this point in the Daytona 500. And we got 5 guys in this lead draft right now, one of them with heavy damage in the 36 who could even win this thing. Because he's still with these guys, and if enough lap cars come in the way, he can be right up to the race lead at some point.
And you know what? Travis Crampton, he was working with his teammate Quentin Moore in the 34, but he honestly, I think Travis Crampton just wants to take this race lead, and he might be able to do so.
You might have to have a little help, but meanwhile, all these guys in the back, they're closing back in on the race leaders, so that affected them, but not too much. They're able to drive back up to them, so they didn't even need lap cars to close back into the leaders.
And they are going to have a massive one. And right now, DJ Reed taking over this Daytona 500, right now in the one car for Chip Ganassi Racing.
And actually, I think Crampton lost the draft a little bit there, and he's actually getting in the way just a little bit of these guys coming into the picture. 95, Christian Vargas, Rob Evans moving back on the inside, DeLello in the 8.
Oh no, I heard more lap cars.
Oh, these might even be slower here. That's, yeah, Tristan Allen there, 51 machine, Mark Davidson, the 6 of Alexander Rowe. Not exactly where Alexander Rowe was back in February, but be interesting to see how they get around them.
Oh boy.
They're really mounting the charge on DJ Reed here. Rob Evans on that inside there with Collins and Galloway. They're going to drive right to the inside of them. Reed does not have any help there on that outside lane. No one right behind him, and Evans is going to lead this lap.
And Mitchell Collins and Jake Galloway, two of the stronger cars, just about 10 laps ago. They're back up to the front, but at what cost? Because now we're going to catch up to more lap traffic.
When you run into lap traffic, you want to be the race leader. That's the best place to be, especially single file. But he's trying to go on the outside of these guys. I don't know if that's what you want to do. They're going to make something work there, I think. Oh, boy.
Oh, boy. Both lanes.
Galloway to the inside.
And Galloway's going to get by Rob Evans. And now he's going to get by the second lap car of Mark Davidson and the third lap car. And just like that, he's going to get around. Where does exactly DeLello come from in the 8? He just came out of nowhere.
Yeah, that 8 has been in the lead pack this whole time, and he was in that second pack when we ran into the first set of lap traffic. I think they got around those guys a little bit better, but then on the same side, they didn't get around them initially, and they were able to stay together a little bit more. But a lot of those guys, I mean, DJ Reed, who was part of that first pack the first time around with lap traffic, he got caught behind, and they've fallen back a little bit, but they're all still in contention for this one with 20 laps to go.
And here's the thing, Travis Crampton with a destroyed back end is in third right now in the Daytona 500. Incredible job, and you know what? Front Row Motorsports working together right now. We know of how strong they are in real life at these super speedways.
Yeah, they're going to have to work together if Crampton's going to get the race victory, but I got to hand it to this 36 team. I mean, there's no way that car should be running as fast as everyone else here, but it is. And it's very surprising to see. You don't usually see that at Daytona. But Crampton's making it work there in that 36 machine. I don't think he has the car to get to the race lead without help. But, you know, if things work out in his favor with lap traffic, he could find his way into the race lead by the time the finish of the race comes around.
Not very possible. We've seen of how crazy lap cars are. And speaking of lap cars, Bronson Minute, who won the K&N Super Speedway Series race yesterday, he's not going to win the Daytona 500 today, and right now he's sitting in 21st, and he's going to go one lap down. And Nick Kennedy, part-time.
Wow, what a move there.
I didn't even see him coming. He's going to take the race lead, and he's going to have a gigantic gap here at Daytona.
That's not what you want. If this was the last lap, maybe, but it's not the last lap, and those guys are going to close right back on them. An outside lane, especially, they're going to get around that 12 machine.
And Noah Clifton's going to get held up the most out of all these guys in the double zero.
Looks like they'll all get around him, though, here. Galloway's looking on the outside. That's going to open the door for DeLello to move to the inside of him. DeLello's just going to pick up Kennedy, and I think Kennedy's going to get another lap led here. Or will he? He's going to get to the inside there. How about, you know, one guy we haven't mentioned yet is Yepes in the 52. I mean, Yepes is a solid driver all around, and there's no surprise to be seeing him up front with these guys. But we haven't even talked about him once yet in this race. But he's going to have a good shot at winning this Daytona 500.
All of these guys has legit everyone in this lead pack have a realistic shot, but they're gonna have to make some bold moves if they want to do it, because just staying where they are at it's not gonna work.
Inside lane now is pulling back up. We got one big pack again. But it's not going to be the last time we run into the lap traffic. We're going to actually run into these guys again because that's how slow they're going. John Andrews, Kukulon, and Patrick Smith. Patrick Smith's won this thing before. I don't think he's going to win it today.
Yeah, he won this in Season 1 when he was driving a Toyota. And that was the same season that he won a championship. But he's not going to get it done in the 500 for the second time in his career.
Here comes DJ Reed once again to the inside of Galloway and Kennedy. It looks like that inside lane is going to get a good run there to the corner.
3 Chevys in a row trying to beat out a Toyota in the middle. But it's not going to happen. That Kennedy... Oh.
That could be the finish of the race. Could get something like that happen at the checkered flag, and you can end up with a really close finish. I'd love to see a really close finish in this one.
Now here's the thing,
these guys, they got to be careful not to go 4 wide again, too.
Rob Evans, the guy that made it 4 wide once before, who knows, he could make it 4 wide once again. But the only part-time car in this lead pack is Nick Kennedy, and he's been the best part-timer all speed weeks so far. Qualified second on pole day. He did a pretty good job in the duel, but got caught in something that's not his fault, and he's been a really good job so far in this Daytona 500. But if he wins, most likely he won't make the chase, because for a part-timer, he would have to make every single qualifying race for the other 27 races, and that's likely not going to happen.
Here they come on the lap cars again. Galloway's in a good position. He's single file in the lead right now, and Kennedy's going to try to work on the outside of him. Oh boy, what a move there. He tried to make a pass as they were hitting lap traffic, but it did not work out for Kennedy, and Galloway, he doesn't have anywhere to go. I would have split the middle if I were him, but did not have that inside. But he's going to push the 10 past everyone there and work that inside on the lap traffic. Hopefully that'll be the last time they run into him here today. We only have 13 to go. I'm not 100% sure if they'll be slow enough where we'll catch them again or not, but hopefully that'll be the last time in this race.
Hopefully, but I could be wrong. But honestly, if this race goes caution-free to the end, which most likely it will at this point, knock on wood, we might catch up to this 4-car pack as well.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens when they close up to those guys. Chris Davidson's in that pack there. They've already run into him once. Here comes DJ Reed to the inside for the race lead.
A massive crossover, but he has no help. Now he does from the 2.
Galloway doesn't have any help there on that outside lane. He's going to have to wait for Hamid to come back in. How about that 13? I mean, he's been having a solid race. He's got a bit of damage as well, but he's been able to keep with these guys, and the lap traffic's helped him stay in this thing, that number 13 machine.
And look who's back up in this lead pack from Noah Clifton, Travis Crampton once again. But Mitchell Collins, once again, he's going to go to the race lead in that Penske number 2.
Yeah, some of the strongest cars I've seen so far have been Galloway and DJ Reed and the 2 of Mitchell Collins. Even though they've had their moments where they've gotten stuck behind lap traffic, they seem to find their way up front quite a bit here today, and I have a feeling one of those guys is going to get it done. But don't count out Vargas. I mean, he's got that fire in him from losing the Daytona 500 in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series earlier this year. And then Rob Evans, obviously he's got a lot of fire in him because he made it 4 wide earlier on and knocked out half the field for it.
And the funny thing right now is that out of everyone in the top 8, there's only 3 veterans. Vargas, Clifton, and Crampton. That's it. And then there's 5 other rookies trying to get the first win in the Red Bull Cup Series.
It'll be interesting to see if any of those rookies can win it or the veterans will prevail. I mean, Crampton's trying, but it's just a little bit too much damage, I think, for him to really get to the race lead, and he might actually be losing the draft here. Might be. He's staying with it, though. We'll have to see. And if we had catch up the more lap traffic and they slowed the pack down enough, I wouldn't count out those guys in that second pack now, because you got Yepez in there, you got Kennedy. I mean, Yepez is actually all by himself right now, and those guys, Kennedy on down, they are really far back. They really got held up.
Yeah, so that's going to take out possibly 3 of the other best drivers always long: Kennedy, Moore, and Deletto.
Collins is now kind of in the position to win this race. They're not really getting to the inside of him here, and he's able to control both lines. I mean, there's not even really an inside lane right now, as you only have Vargas and Clifton on that inside trying to work something out, but a lot of the other guys on that outside lane, that's making it easier for Collins to stay up front here, as we only have 8 laps to go here at Daytona.
8 laps to go, and we have 8 cars in the lead pack. Who will win the Daytona 500 and lock themselves into the Season 3 Red Bull Cup Series playoffs? DJ Reed to the inside of Collins.
You got 3 wide behind those guys right there. I think Collins is going to hold that outside as Vargas has an opportunity. This guy slowed up enough. Vargas had the run. Take the chance when you can. We're within 10 laps to go, and you never know when a caution could come out either. So you want to be in that position to be able to take the race lead when it counts.
Massive side draft between the 1 and the 95. And look, exactly right. We could end up seeing a caution, but right now it's not likely. 20 cars left on the lead lap here at Daytona, and Galloway is actually helping DJ Reed through the middle.
Still side by side for this race lead. Going to be interesting to see who gets it done here. Will we catch up the more lap traffic, or will we race it out to the end? I think we're going to close in on these guys here. You got Davidson. You got Williamson in the 43-19 machine there of Roger Ray also. Wyatt Quayle. I don't think these guys, especially Ray and Quayle, I don't think they're as slow as some of the other lap cars we've run into, which can make it even more interesting. They could end up just joining right with the pack.
This is about to get really interesting. With 6 laps to go in the 500, and is that 4 wide? That is 4 wide.
That is. That's 4 wide. Vargas isn't going to waste any more time. He wants to go right for it. They will figure it out, though. It's really tough to stay 4 wide in a small pack like that, and they're going to figure it back down. But Vargas really went for it there. But now Galloway's in a good position because he's single file up front. Well, they're 3 wide for second, but he's starting to pull away because of that. 5 to go here at Daytona.
This has been... You have to hit the extra gas button, the extra little oomph that you can. Because with 5 laps to go, if a caution happens, the race is over.
You've got to get to the lead when you can and hold on to it for the last few laps. Collins going to get a run here. Galloway really got out to a huge lead. That's going to hurt him a lot. Collins going to have a run. And, you know, that's not what you want coming to the checkered flag. If you have that kind of a gap, you know, that person in second, they're going to be able to edge you at the line just like Collins will here with 4 to go.
But Rob Evans, the guy... Oh, caution's out!
When did it come out? 24 went around. Are they racing back, or was that it?
That was it.
That was it. Collins did it.
Mr. Collins.
That was it. Wow. And that's exactly what we were talking about. You never know when the caution's going to come out. Well, there you go.
And Mitchell Collins steals it from Jake Galloway. And as long as nothing happens to him under the caution, Mitchell Collins, he's been wondering if when he will get that first win on the channel. Well, he's going to get his first win and his first Red Bull Cup Series start in the Daytona 500.
That's a big one for him right there. Hopefully he can hold on to it here in these last few laps, but the caution had to have come out right as they were coming off of 4, because we saw the 24 go around. You see the tire marks into the outside wall. Looks like someone took a pretty hard hit up there.
Hey,
and that's something else I was mentioning. You might have one of those other packs get involved in a 4 wide situation or something like that, and they get caught up in a wreck, and that's exactly what we saw right there. Those guys getting caught up in a wreck and bringing out the caution, even though it did not have anything to do with the leaders.
Not the way that we wanted to end the Daytona 500, exactly of how the KNN Super Speedway Series race finished. Under caution, with less than 5 laps to go. You hate to see it, but that's just the way that the cookie crumbles sometimes. But one guy's going to be really excited about it is going to be Mitchell Collins in the number 2. But before we go to the final lap, let's see what happened to John Andrews in the 24th to bring out the second and final caution of the 2020 Daytona 500. Here we go, this is what happened. A single car spin to bring out the final caution of the Daytona 500. John Andrews got into the 41 of Kukulon, came back down and into Brett Sealer in the number 9. And then when John Andrews came up the racetrack, he almost clipped Eli Bright in the number 48. So that could have been 300 cars involved in one crash. And unfortunately, John Andrews, he stopped on the apron, but the caution was all the way out at that point. There were more cars coming, and the NIRA officials had no other choice to bring out the caution. Not the way that we wanted to end the 2020 Daytona 500.
Yeah, and like I was mentioning, we get a 4-wide situation occur with one of these smaller packs, one of these tail end lead lap packs, and it's like Kukulon might have gotten into the 24s a little bit, shot Andrews down on the 9 of Brett Sierra, and it was enough. He had cars coming there, and they needed to throw the yellow out. Tough break for all those guys, except for Mitchell Collins, because at the line, he edged out Galloway, and that caution happened right as they crossed the line. But that's what I mean. You have to go for the lead when you can, because you never know when the race could end, and that's exactly what happened there. Mitchell Collins, most likely, only unless something drastic happens on the final few laps, he's going to be a race winner here at Daytona.
Welcome back here at Daytona International Speedway. The final lap of the Daytona 500. You will not go back green. And Mitchell Collins, as long as nothing bad happens in this last half of the lap, he will be the 2020 Red Bull Cup Series Daytona 500 champion.
Great job for this team. They were one of the strongest cars in this race, and they're very deserving of getting this race victory. And Mitchell Collins able to nick Galloway at the line there. It was a lot closer of a finish than what we thought it was going to be, but it's the way it rolls. Mitchell Collins going to win the race.
He ran full-time in trucks last season in the 88, didn't really do that well. Moved up to the Cup Series for Team Penske, and what a start is. Mitchell Collins for Team Penske and the discount Tyler Ford will win the Daytona 500. Locks himself into the Red Bull Cup Series playoffs, and now all 3 manufacturers have won a Daytona 500 in the Red Bull Cup Series.
Congratulations to Mitchell Collins.
What a race. What a weird race. This was a kind of a little bit of a weirder race than I thought. But then again, the entire speed race has been really weird this season. But Mitchell Collins, a deserving win. Like I said, one of the dominant 3 or 4 colors. And I can pretty much say that 3 out of the 4 or 5 best colors all day finished 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Those guys all knew what they were doing. Even DJ Reed, got to give a lot of credit to him as well. He was another one of the strong drivers. But yeah, Mitchell Collins able to pull off the race victory here. Well deserving for that team. And like you mentioned, they're going to lock themselves into the playoffs. So that's a big deal for those guys.
And for Mitchell Collins, he does not have to worry about the next 17 races whatsoever. The finish results, Mitchell Collins gets the win, Galloway second, Evans fourth, well third, Clifton fourth out of nowhere, great one for Clifton in the 00, DJ Reed in fifth, Focus sixth. How about Travis Grantham, a destroyed back end, and he gets 7th in the Daytona 500. What a job for that 36 team. And then Hamid in 8th, the highest part timer, Nick Kennedy in 9th, Jalelo in 10th, Kuntamore in 11th, Lopez 12th, White 13th, Alvela 14th, Ace Garcia 15th, Brett Stewart 16th, Benny Watson 17th, Wyatt Clear 18th, and Josh Ranson, the 19 cars that finished on the lead lap in 19th. And then for Woe, Minute, Allen, Davison all finished 1 lap down, and then Patrick Smith and Cookwan 2 laps down. Rajaway blew up, and then 27th all the way down, crashed in the big one. So, a wild Daytona 500. What's the final thoughts here at Daytona, Napa fan?
That's the way Speedway Physics Daytona works, and you know, unfortunately we had to end that thing under caution, but that's just the way it rolls sometimes. And Mitchell Collins is glad they didn't have the battle anymore because he was able to pull away with the race victory. Huge win for Collins too, like you mentioned. Never won before in the NIRA. Well, he's finally got one, and it's in the biggest race in the NIRA as well. So congratulations to Mitchell Collins for getting it done here in the Daytona 500. Great drive for that whole team there for Team Penske.
Yeah, exactly right. Team Penske, they have 1 car all the way locked into the chase. Now they just need the other 2. It's been a great speed race. Thank you guys so much for watching the past week here on the NIRA channel. The season has only begun. 1 race down, 27 races left for the Red Bull Cup Series. Next weekend we are at Atlanta for the John Deere 250, I believe, for the trucks, and then the John Deere 500 for the Red Bull Cup Series. Using a 2019 version, so it's going to be a little bit different, and it's going to be fun. Huge thanks to Napa fan for joining me up in the booth for this one. What a race. Congratulations to Mitchell Collins on getting the race win. The burnouts, the points, the Rookie of the Year points, the team points, and the playoff points are all coming up next. Congrats to Mitchell Collins on getting the win, and until Atlanta next weekend, I will see you guys next time. Bye.
Wings are made to fly, made to fly. Fears are born to die, born to die. Pushing through the pain, pushing through, breaking through.